In this video, I'll be demonstrating Objective 4 for the CSIS 116B final project. So Objective 4 asks us to add a new web form to our final project and then add a form view control to it, which will display the record that is submitted to it from the query string in our grid view. So the first step would be to add the new web form. We'll go ahead and right click on our project here in Solution Explorer. Choose Add Web Form with Master Page. We're going to call this Customer Details, and it's going to be based on our site master. Once we have the form open here, we're going to go to the toolbox and grab a form view and drop it into our web form there in the design view. Next, we have to establish the connection to the customer table. So we'll start here and click on the drop-down list in the Smart Task menu for Choose Data Source. Choose the option New Data Source. It will, of course, be a SQL data source, and we'll just leave the default value there for our SQL data source. Now, we already have a connection string that we established in a previous step, so we'll just reselect that connection string, still pointing to the same database that we're using that has the customers table in it. Then we'll click Next. And now in our Choose Data Connection screen, we're going to go ahead and choose our customers table. And then we're going to create a SQL where clause by clicking on this where button right here. So when I click on where, you'll see that it gives me this Add Where Clause dialog box. And I can do so using the graphical interface. So basically we're identifying first which column it is in the table that the value will be looked up in, and then with the operator here, we want it to be equal to the query string, but we could make it less than, greater, or equal, all these different various operator options. And then for our source, that will be the query string, and we know that in our previous demo that we identified the query string as CID, and then we're not going to put in actually a default value here, we just put in an empty string. The default value would be, if we're going to call that form up individually and not pass a query string for it, it would need some sort of a value or it would fail. And so since we're always going to be calling from the grid view, really no need for a default value. Now all of this effort here then has created, as you can see, a SQL expression which is a where clause, and then we just simply want to add it to the project by clicking on this Add button. So there is the where clause being created for us. We click OK here, and then we'll go ahead and click Next and Finish. So the final step then is just to test out our new form here. So I'll go back to our customers web form. We'll go ahead and run that by pressing function key 5 on the keyboard. Once the grid view loads up into the web form here, we have our hyperlinks. And as we click on one of these hyperlinks, then it should call up our page, pass the CID value to it, which you can see is up here in the URL. And so the actual customer details form now is what's being displayed on the screen here. And it's displaying all of the details for that record based on the query string value that was passed to it. So that's all there is to it for Objective 4. Let's move on to Objective 5.